Shakespeare, Zombies, and Monsters. Oh my, it's June releases on Cinefiles. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's Cinefiles. I'm Totsky.
I'm Tito.
I'm Steve.
I'm Ashcake.
This week, we're going to be talking about what's coming up in the month of June.
June releases.
June release.
Phoning it in.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Let me lay it down. Let me lay down exactly what happened. We've been working on a lot of different projects, amongst them being Cover, which you're definitely going to have to keep your eyes out for. But we wanted to go and check. Yeah, screening at Next Fest this coming weekend.
See the trailer
on the
YouTube
9th.
channel.
You definitely check it out. So we've been working on a lot of different projects, and we kind of never got together to watch Great Gatsby like we were planning to. We wanted to do a Cinefiles on checking out Leo on the big screen in 3D, and then the projector broke on the last day that it was playing in town. So now we're phoning it in with the June releases.
June movies.
It's funny though because my sister was like, okay, so because your guys' equipment screwed up and it broke, like, are you going to play it tomorrow so that the people who are here, because there were quite a few
Did
people
you get
who
refunds?
booked up. No, well, we hadn't paid for it yet.
Oh, okay.
But
They had a sign.
Yeah, they had a sign. He was literally putting the sign up as we walked up to the door, like
Projectors just
10
fucked,
minutes,
man.
maybe 5 or 10 minutes before the movie started, and I'm like, okay, so for all the people who like wanted to see the movie, like, are you going to extend it until tomorrow? And he's like, no.
Well, no, they got contracts, and they're basically
They
also
do
just going to
contracts,
say,
but
like,
just like,
what happened in the other 3 weeks we were playing it? Where were you?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Where were you? Those
So
days?
maybe we'll be
was
able to see it in
Gatsby out for
Edmonton.
the full 3 weeks?
Yeah, but I think 3 weeks was the run here in town anyway.
I thought it was
Yeah.
only 2.
So we
Life
didn't get a
is
chance to
fast.
see Gatsby.
And furious.
But there's so many movies.
I read the book, so
Aside from Man of Steel, which we've already previewed, you're
Which
gonna
we
have to
won't
watch
go
that.
into because you
Yeah.
guys have all that. But even though there's been...
Can I say one thing,
The movie's
though?
like online at this
I know,
point.
you can
so-
make a cut
I'm
with
gonna
all the
let you
promo
finish.
footage.
have they seriously not fucking, like, they released so many TV spots that the whole movie must be over.
It's like,
now.
yeah, no,
Pretty
that's...
sure.
Well, no,
That's what you're just getting
it's...
Unless there's
that's
a
what I just
Mandarin
said.
moment.
Yeah,
You just
it just
zoned
clicked
out.
down. Yeah, they clicked it.
Right.
No, well, I mean, it's a lot of recycled footage, but they keep giving you those few
There's like
seconds
a
of
couple
new
split
stuff.
seconds, yeah.
And there's a lot of audio, like new audio, and that's pissing me off
Yeah.
because the audio feels more spoilerish than the video.
I think so. I totally think so. And then just little key moments like his eyes start glowing. And
Yeah,
he's
and
about
one
to
little
use it,
thing
and it's
really
like-
bothers me in these TV spots. They keep referencing this one shot, and I don't know if they think it's good, but like I think it's terrible. I guess I see what they're trying to do, but there's this shot of like I guess Superman is like hovering. And he's got his like fists ready to fight because he's like hover fighting or whatever. And he's like you're crazy, Zod. And I'm like,
You're a monster.
This looks like not good composition of a shot. And I'm thinking,
Which is
I'm like
surprising from Zack Snyder.
Well, and I get why they did it. They did it because they wanted to show you something that hadn't been seen before. Because usually when you see Superman hovering, it's from the waist up because there's strings, and you know what I mean. So I don't know. I thought it kind of looked a little stupid, but well, I still have a lot of faith in the movie.
June releases.
We just said we weren't talking about
I
movies.
know,
I can't
we're
help
gonna go into
ourselves.
a big fucking Cinephiles
But
about that one.
so everybody,
On the
all at
Saturday
the
Night
exact
Show.
same time. 3, 2, 1. What's your movie? 3, 2, 1. World War
Birds.
Z.
University.
I have 3 movies. Joss Whedon, Joss Whedon, the famous director of Avengers now, he shot an adaptation of Much Ado About Nothing, and it actually stars a lot of his like alumni. So Nathan Fillion's in it, Coulson, he's in it.
Yeah.
Clark Gregg's in it. Who else is in there?
Amy
You got
Acker.
Amy Acker.
Emmy Acker, Tommy Link.
Yeah, so it's a modern adaptation of Much Ado About Nothing. For those of you that don't know what Much Ado About Nothing is, it's basically a Shakespeare comedy about essentially what happens is the gods decide to play some mischief on some mortals that are in love, and just basically to test test their love, and in doing so, the mischief kind of gets out of hand when I think like the queen of the elves gets fooled into falling in love with a mortal man,
Yes.
and then the mortal man gets turned into an ass. Like he becomes a donkey.
Yeah, donkey.
So I think there might, in this adaptation, kind of adapt it in that the guy becomes an asshole, maybe. But it looks exciting. It looks really funny. It's in black and white, so you got kind of like that indie cred to it.
I didn't know it was in black
and
and
he
white.
shot it in his house, which is kind of cool because, you know, as a group of people that kind of do like indie movies and stuff, it's kind of cool to see that even at his level, he's still kind of like, hey, let's do this, right? The other one is Adam Green's Hatchet 3. For horror movie fans, Hatchet is a movie series that it's kind of like revamped the whole idea of like the Jason and Friday the 13th concept. But it also makes fun of it in the fact that, like, Victor Crowley, I think, is the killer, and he's, like, unkillable. Like, that's the joke in the movies, is, like, they literally just keep trying to kill him, and he keeps coming back. And it's, you know, it's got, like, the generic background where he's, like, this kind of physically deformed kid that was caught in a fire, so he haunts these swamplands and stuff.
It's totally like Jason and Freddy.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like, but like the basically like in the second one, there's this awesome bit where she's like literally eviscerates his face, like just it's nothing, and she's like, "Why won't you die?" The third movie I'm going to talk about is a band called Death, which is actually a really interesting documentary. So Scott Mosier, famous for being the producer on all the Kevin Smith's films, he's kind of was brought in to be the producer for this film. And what it is during the 1960s and 70s, when there was Motown and it was like the Rolling Stones were like the big bands, there was a band called Death. And the odd thing is, one, they were a rock and roll band that was like verging on punk. Like it was punk before punk music. And this wouldn't even show up until like the Sex Pistols in like the 80s, right? And more to the point, which was like the big thing is, they were black guys. Like they weren't like the Rolling Stones. They didn't even look like rock and rollers. They like, it's like, why aren't you doing Motown type music? And so these guys, and the reason and they were told to change their band name. Like what happened is like the leader of the band is so uncompromising. And what happened was he's like, no, we're gonna like, this is gonna be the sound of the future. And like his literal words were, one day someone's gonna be looking for this music, right? Yeah. And like the big hook that got me on it is, I guess Scott Mosier was talking about it in a Smodcast, and I guess the big hook is like he was like the lead singer and he was dying, and he goes to one of his bandmates in like the mid 70s and he basically gives him the master track, and he says, one day people are going to come looking for this music, and when they come looking for it, you have to be ready. And like he died shortly thereafter, and so sure enough, now they've become this big band that like this, like it's almost like this treasure that no one knew existed. Yeah, because the music, like you listen to it now, and it's comparable to like the Sex Pistols, the Eagles, even like it was, but it was just so before its time. It was as if Marty McFly back in the your kids are gonna love this.
It's one of those things that keeps you going to the record store, hoping for another great story like that.
The ultimate trend. I don't know of a story like that. I don't know of one.
The one that I'm most excited for is Monsters University. So the last thing that we saw of the Disney Pixar film was Sally opening the door, and then you hear on the other side, Kitty, and then black. And then everyone for years, like how long has it been since Monsters?
Oh, geez, we're talking
Inc.
like 01, not even 2000.
Like the last thing we saw was that, and people have been waiting, and then suddenly they're like, a new Monsters movie is going to be coming out, and everyone's like, oh my god! But turns out it's a prequel, which is pretty exciting because from the TV spots and everything that I've seen, it looks like how does she say it? Mike
Wachowski.
Mike Wachowski, yeah, and freaking Sally aren't even friends. Like, you know, Sally's a jock. Wachowski not so much.
He's kind of the small nerdy,
he's a small,
dirty guy.
Nerdy, like he's tiny as well. Like he looks even tinier than normal, and he's just not that scary. So then there's like this big scare competition at the end of the year, and of course, like typical like Disney style, like pretty much gives you the premise so that kids are like, oh my gosh, I want to see it. Like, you know what I mean? So
Kids and adults, I think.
kids and
man.
adults. I
can't
mean,
wait to see the like dorm room roommates.
Yeah, I've been waiting and waiting and waiting for
House.
this. But the coolest thing about like the Monsters University lead up is their website. So if you go to like monstersuniversity.com, it looks like an actual university website, and it tells you why you should sign up to the school and stuff. So it's got like Excel. Oh no, care to scare. Dean hard Scrabble on the pandemic and the weakness of scaring, and then it's like go MU, like show your pride with Monsters University.
That's
like
priceless.
Sportswear and stuff like it's got everything, like talks about the ID cards, like it's super cute. So like their little viral campaign that they've got on the go is actually a lot of fun. So
What do you think about the whole bullying thing?
So I guess what you were saying earlier is they took out a scene because Sally bullies
They changed it. Yeah, he was getting froshed.
Frost. Yeah,
I think so, yeah.
yeah. So he's
Frost,
getting
yeah.
froshed, and they've taken the scene out because it's considered bullying.
The world's hypersensitive.
The world's hypersensitive, and I hate it. Like, when you told me that, I got, like, red in the face furious because, like, everyone's, like, cotton ball, like, bubble wrapping kids these days. But the thing about Disney is, like, when they've had problems like this, they've always shown, like, a way to get to a solution. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, Woody used to pick on Buzz, and then they became friends. Like,
true.
it's that simple.
He tried to
right?
kill Buzz.
He tried to. Yeah, right.
What's happening? I don't get it.
One of the things I'm looking forward to this month is The Purge. And as I was kind of touching on earlier that I wanted to go in, I never even heard about this movie until a couple weeks ago. I was just running through the internet, and all I've seen is that poster that I put on my Facebook the other day. It was all emergency services have been suspended, and then it had like the cross with like the Ghostbusters no, and then it says for the 12-hour period during the purge.
Like the generic.
Yeah, and I was just like, well, this is interesting because I didn't quite scroll to the bottom and seen the whole rated R, and then I could tell it was a movie. I'm just like, what the hell is this all about? And then I went to YouTube and, of course, checked out the trailer, and then all of a sudden I'm seeing the TV spots everywhere, which I've had to have seen it before, and I just wasn't paying attention. This movie looks cool. I enjoy Ethan Hawke. I always have. I think he's a great actor. And I love the premise of this movie. One of my favorite horror movies, just one that I've always thought about, I really, really enjoyed Against the Blood Flowing, was The Strangers. And this kind of has that strangerish tone to it, where it's just like, okay, the concept is awesome. Once a year for a 12-hour period, the government lets you get out all your negative energy and just do anything. Everything's legal. Nothing is a crime, including murder. And it's just like, what?
It just reminds me of The Simpsons, the Do What You Feel Like festival.
Well, like this one, the concept is just like, this is fucking...
Only very sadistic.
This is retarded, but I think to me, I'm like, this will never ever happen. But then how they're filming it and how like the whole inside the house, you're locked inside this compound, not really knowing what's going on outside besides these flashes of the news. That's what really draws me, and that's what really, really gets to me. And it just gives me goosebumps thinking about it, and I can't wait to see how this plays out on and the masks. Like I'm a sucker for a fucking horror mask, right? Like The Strangers, those pillow sacks really got me, and this fucking one here with like this plastic doll face does creep me the fuck out, because I think it's similar. Like one was almost in like the Strangers as well, and the whole I'm like big arm and disarm buttons, and then all of a sudden they're still getting in the house anyway. Like I'm so curious how to get it done. The concept's unreal, and I totally want to check it out. June 7th, The Purge. It's going to be great. On top of that, speaking of TV spots, I also seen the TV spot for This Is the End, and it's Seth Rogen, and who else wrote it? It's Evan Goldberg and Seth Rogen. To me, at first, I'm watching this, I'm like, this is another one of those scary movie date night, one of those spoof fucking flicks. Then I started seeing Danny McBride and Seth Rogen, and like the fucking crew is in it again.
It's the end of the world cameo movie.
And I'm just like, to me, I'm like, this looks fucking dumb.
Well, sorry, go on.
No, good.
They're playing themselves, hey?
Are they really?
They're themselves as Hollywood actors. It's like Seth. They're all themselves.
Yeah,
that's the
because
hook.
even Jonah Hill is.
That's the
I
hook.
already noticed that.
Yeah, it's too late for you, Aziz. You're in the hole.
I thought you got that. Yeah, it's totally them playing
that's
them
what
as if
has
the
me
world
interested
ended.
for it, actually.
Oh, I never got that. I thought they were just playing characters.
Yeah, it turns out they're all real assholes in real life. Like, that's the joke. Have you seen the trailer where they recut the trailer to Pineapple Express 2?
Yes, because that's what Jonah Hill was talking about.
Yeah. That's what they're doing because
they're
stuck in a bunker.
recutting their movies.
So I'm looking forward to This Is the End.
This place is beautiful, man.
This place is like a piece of me. You two just stepped
inside me.
You let us both come inside you. Yeah.
Boom. Thanks, James Franco.
World War Z, or Z if you're in Canada, is coming out June 21st, and I don't know if anybody else agrees, but it feels like it's been forever since like Brad Pitt's been in a big blockbuster movie.
When was his last one?
Yeah, when was the last one?
Just seems like forever. No, I honestly, the like last one's not even coming to me. Like some big ones that he's done in the recent past, like I don't even know. You've got I don't even know. Regardless of that, it's been forever. Like it's so long that I can't even think of anything. He's just been raising like 30 kids. So I mean, he's been busy. I understand that, but this looks like a really interesting movie. I got to say, from the first trailers, and maybe it was just an issue with like, you know, the movie's not quite done yet and the rendering hadn't gone through as many passes as but I thought the zombies kind of looked a little weak, like a little bit I Am Legend-ish, and I didn't really like the way the infected looked in that movie either. As fun as it was, there was like a texture thing that was going on. So I'm hoping that that's not going to be the final story for World War Z, but Z, whatever you want to call it. But it looks like besides the just visual aspect of it, the trailer kills me. Like it looks so good when they're just in, you know, it's one of those moments where I remember the Canadian version of Dawn of the Dead when it's going through the opening where stuff's happening. You already know it's a zombie movie, but the people on screen don't quite yet. And she's like in the or like going by the stretcher on the back of the ambulance. She's hearing the radio reports and everything like that. And I remember saying in the movie theater when she turns the radio off when the news report is on, and I'm like, you stupid fucking bitch. Don't you know what's going to happen? And that exact same thing is happening because the little girl's like, Daddy, what's martial law? And they like get in the cab anyway, and there's cops getting run over and everything. For a society that's almost like at a saturation level, like oversaturated level with zombies, I think that this is actually going to grab people's attention kind of all over again, kind of like The Walking Dead did. So I think that it's one that, even though they've shown a lot in the trailers and the TV spots, I think there's still a really big air of mystery about it, and I think that that's very interesting. I really like the way that the books are written. If you are the type of person that, like, as soon as you know a movie's based on a book and you need to read that book beforehand, definitely do so. But don't just read World War Z. You also got to read Zombie Survival Guide, because that was the first one from Max Brooks. And that one's sort of written in a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek style of like how you would survive the zombie apocalypse.
They're written from like a survivor's point of view.
Yeah, they're written from like a first-person perspective. In fact, the second one's more because the character is a journalist, and it takes place after the conflict, which is interesting. Like it opens up with him kind of doing a retrospective into what happened in his life throughout as a reporter, trying to piece together what happened around the world while this whole like global pandemic kind of happened. So I don't know, definitely pick up the books if you are interested in that. If not, I'm sure the movie's going to stand on its own, and that's definitely like a huge high up there. Probably should have put it on my top 5. I think I might have had it as number 5 for like top movies this summer.
What movies are you most excited for this June? Not including Man of Steel, of course, because we're all excited for that one.
That's like saying your favorite Led Zeppelin song is Stairway to Heaven.
Pretty much. Yeah. Everyone just loves it.
Pick another one.
Leave it in the comments below and make sure you like the video.
Also, check out the podcast, YMMpodcast.com. We did a preview of the summer. You can listen to them all. Check them out.
And we've got our like top 5 bets for our biggest earners throughout the summer, so you're going to be able to keep track of that. And I would like you to send us your top 5 bets for biggest earners, even if they've come out already, all the way up till September 1st?
September 1st
was the cutoff.
Deadline.
Let us know what you think, and you can get in touch with us all over the internet. We're online, facebook.com/YMMpodcast, twitter.com/YMMpodcast. Send us the email directly at show@YMMpodcast.com.
I wouldn't jump to the conclusion that it's going to be Iron Man 3 that's the best just because he's already made $1 billion. But anywho, subscribe to this book.
To the zombies.
Subscribe to Ellie's staff pick.
Ellie, life extension.
This is all on you, Ellie. This is all on you.
Subscribe.
Oh my God.
4.
I'm going to like obsess about that now that you made that connection.
4. This episode of Cinefiles. I'm Todsky.
I'm Tito.
I'm Steve.
I'm Ashkate.
We'll see you next set.